This vegetative pattern continues into larger forms. We see some here and here. Here it almost looks like structure within the vegetation, evidence of individual branches. And in fact, we see that certainly in looking at this object. It has a central trunk-like area branching from that. And most telling of all, since the original explanation thrown out for this was a crystalline structure on the ground, but these things cast shadows, indicating that they're well off the ground. In fact, this is perhaps a couple hundred meters across and maybe 80 meters above the ground. About this feature, it's so remarkably like what a tree would look like seen from above, that Arthur C. Clarke, the well-known science fiction author, gave this quote recently: "The recent discovery of life in the most improbable places, especially far down inside the Earth's crust, has now convinced me that we have been equally short-sighted. Some of the amazing images from the Mars Suveyor, especially the one we just saw, make me 95% sure that there are extensive areas of vegetation or its equivalent on Mars." picture taken by one of the Opportunity rovers on the surface of Mars. And the tracks made in the surface there were made by a rover, an Opportunity rover, as it passed by. And as it passed by, some liquid filled in the tracks and froze, and it's as you see it there. This happened several years ago, and there are many pictures like this, including pictures of the rovers with muddy wheels and so on. You wondered why NASA waited until just a couple of weeks ago to announce the discovery of water on Mars, when the water had been discovered on Mars probably a dozen or more times previously, dating all the way back to the early 80s, and was officially announced by the European Space Agency 3 years ago. But NASA didn't recognize any of those discoveries and kept arguing, well, it could be carbon dioxide ice, there's no evidence that it's water. And interestingly enough, there is no experiment on either Spirit or Opportunity which could detect water directly. They're only to detect minerals that could have been modified by water billions of years ago. Reason for that is simple: jobs and money. The approved missions in the space program held off the discovery of water on Mars, according to advanced planning, until the Phoenix mission that just landed a few weeks ago, last month. So if it had been recognized any sooner, the main point of that mission would have been undercut. Likewise, with many of the other findings, both the U.S. spacecraft in 1976 and more recently the European spacecraft have found strong evidence of microorganisms, living microorganisms, in the soil of Mars today. But they don't dare announce that or recognize it either right now, because then the justification for the next 6 missions would be undercut, and it would be back to the drawing board. So NASA approval, a stamp of approval, will be slow in coming according to the schedule that's been doled out. Remember, I know there's a lot of talk in these conferences about conspiracies. You could call it a conspiracy if you wanted to, but really it boils down to money and jobs. They're humans like everybody else, and you put a lifetime of work in on building an instrument for a spacecraft and then find that the mission is canceled because somebody beat you to the discovery, it's a devastating thing. So this is the way the space program as it's presently organized works. We don't know what this is, but it does change with the seasons and with the and even with the time of the day, as the sunlight changes its direction and so on. So it's one of many, many things that we'd like to know more about, but probably won't know officially for many years. This also is something on Mars. I'm tempted to say growing, but we don't know that. This is an area, the coloration is added here on Earth, but we see these large objects with a branch-like structure around a central trunk area. This is a couple hundred meters across in the very low gravity field of Mars. There are many such pictures, and again, they do change with the seasons. And as the picture suggests, the European spacecraft, which does have colors, shows that they green up in the summer.